The Joe Rogan Experience.
And then I still feel the need to play the lesser evil game, even when they're right. They're still wrong because when I weigh out, the choices I had, even though you're right on this issue, I'm right about my choice ultimately because more things went the way I wanted them to than the way I didn't. It takes a lot of ego strength to admit where you're wrong. And I just don't think a lot of people have that. And there is a tribalism with everything, whether it's workout trends, diets, for God's sake. I mean, we've seen this kind of dogma in health and wellness for years. It's no fun to say you were wrong. And in some cases, it can have professional repercussions for people.
Sure. Did you experience any professional repercussions when you're pushing back against this healthy at any size stuff? Because that's
how much time do you have on that one?
Well, let's go in it because that to me was so fascinating.
Get comfortable.
The concept of fat shaming, which I don't think you should hurt anybody's feelings, but I think at a certain point in time, sometimes hurting someone's feelings causes actions, and hurting someone's feelings with the truth. And you can give the truth to someone lovingly. You could say, look, I care about you. This is why I want to tell you you're a fat fuck. You really are. You're disgusting and you need to lose weight and you're fully addicted to food and you don't understand what it's doing to your body and you're being lied to by all these other people, like these fat doctors. There's some lady in the UK who calls herself the fat doctor. I'm like,
great.
Lady, you're just overwhelmed with information. I could just see it looking at you. This is crazy that you're giving this advice out when you can't walk up a hill. There's no way. You're so unhealthy.
Yeah.
And this idea that shaming people is worse than telling them the truth that's going to make them feel bad, maybe temporarily, but you could do it with kindness. And then that person can make choices that will be, and then you encourage them. I'm so glad you changed your diet. I'm so glad you cut out this and cut out that, and now you're doing well, and you've decided to walk 10,000 steps a day, and you've decided to start exercising a little bit,
You've given me a lot to tackle here. So let's start with...
Let's start with the professional stuff.
The PSYOP component of healthy at any size. This is a big food narrative. This has been proven. Even the friggin'...
Explain big food narrative, what you mean by that.
Okay. So big food, put simply, hired a bunch of registered dietitians to co-opt this concept of intuitive eating. And I'm dead ass serious with hashtags like derail the shame, and they paid them. And they put out all of these posts and went to all of these conventions and promoted the narrative that you can be healthy at any size. And it's just a flat out lie. It is a flat earther conversation. It is pseudoscience at its best. There's no truth behind that. There is a robust amount of data that show us being obese is associated with 170 comorbidities. This is a non-factor. It's been debunked. We know this for a fact. So when that happens, what they're doing is essentially placating someone who already feels. Now I can attack what's going on, or address rather what's going on with an individual who is that size, and it is largely psychological. Once you are past the point of dad bod, you know what I mean? I work 3 jobs, life beat me down, it's a food desert, and I'm 40 pounds overweight, and I've let myself go. This is a different animal. When you're dealing with somebody who is 50 plus pounds overweight, there is a psychological component. So the first thing we need to do is make them aware that there is a problem without question. But you can do it without shame, giving them facts of, listen, this is unhealthy. And because you are such a valuable individual, I want you to understand this, because only from a place of feeling truly worthy are you able to facilitate a change. You don't work out because you hate your body. You work out because you love it. So it doesn't need to be a shaming. There's no shame there, to be honest, Joe. I know that people claim there is because you pointed out this vulnerability or this flaw in the person, but we all have flaws and vulnerabilities. People who are overweight simply wear them. So it's easier to judge, right?
Yeah.
So by educating them first, and then without question, I like to give people, or when I was able to do the work hands-on, that rock bottom moment, because they are overweight because it is providing them with something extraordinarily significant. and I can give you examples should you need them, but I promise you that at one time or another, people turn to addictions, in this case food, because it means their psychological survival. So put simply, the most obvious example would be a person who was incested, molested, raped,
Right.
puts on weight to desexualize. That's just one example of many, but it's easy to illustrate the point. So whatever this thing is providing them is the part that's so hard to let go of.
Yeah.
Because unconsciously it's terrifying. And you got to first show them this is why we need to change. And then you got to give them that path towards change, and you got to make it harder. You got to make them feel the pain. It could be physically, it could be psychologically, but it doesn't have to be shameful, of the way they've been living, so that the work and the sacrifice associated with change is less painful than continuing the negative and destructive habits. You don't have to shame them. I know what the message seems like it is, but it really isn't.
Well, the whole term fat shaming is pretty recent, right?
Yes, very. Let's get right back to when I was
Yeah.
just. You asked me what I lost. So,
Intuitive eating is a fascinating phrase. And the idea that this is by the same people that used to be in charge of tobacco.
Yep.
This is what's really crazy.
Yep.
These are the R.J. Reynolds and these tobacco companies bought all these fast food, processed food companies, and they use the same tactics that they use with that to push terrible foods on people.
Well, they literally have
Yeah.
a team of multidisciplinary scientists that work around the clock to figure out how to get people to not eat just one, and then put it in a commercial. It's like literally in broad daylight. Look
Yeah.
what we're doing to people.
Bet you can't eat just
Guess one.
Yeah.
You know, but what they're doing is they are exploiting somebody's psychology, and they're hijacking their biology with this food without question. And this is why you have seen rates of obesity skyrocket from 70s, when it was like 5% of the adult population was overweight or obese, to 74%. I mean,
Yeah.
like, is it quantum leap in genetics? That's a big pharma psyop of like, no, this is all genetic. You're genetically obese. Well,
Yeah.
where was what happened? I've never seen such a quantum leap in genetics. How come we were genetically obese in the 70s? Like, what was that tipping point, if you will, that created the cascade of obesity over the last 5 decades? Of course, it's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's ingredients in food. It's really simple.
At that, and also how they engineer the environment, and you're surrounded by it. You can't escape it. Remember the days when you weren't allowed to have food at a bookstore? And now every friggin' bookstore has a cafe.
Starbucks.
Yeah, with
With
a
cookies in
600
it.
calorie drink. You
Yeah.
are surrounded. There is nowhere you can go right now where food is not omnipresent, in particular, this crappy food. And they generally do it through government contracts and subsidies. So it's at your schools, your hospitals, like anywhere you go, you will find this garbage food. So even if you have that moment of willpower, which is arguably this fleeting moment of bravado, if you're constantly surrounded by it, you will give in. Managing your environment is a large part of helping someone be successful. It's a Band-Aid, right? If you're dealing with sexual abuse, for example, but controlling the environment is definitely a component in helping them. You can't control the environment.
Right.
You can't control the narrative. You can't control what's in the food. And it's all by design. It's not just the crap in the food. It's how they control the narrative around it, and how they engineer the environment, and how they systematically shut down the people that point it out as fat shamers, for example, or racists.
Yeah.
It's another big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. Or transphobes, or
Yeah.
fill in the blank. But it's fascinating to me that hospitals fall into this. A friend of mine was visiting his friend who has prostate cancer. And this guy is in the hospital being treated for cancer. And then he went to look at what they're feeding him in the hospital. And they were feeding him applesauce, which is just loaded with high fructose corn syrup, apple juice or orange juice, which is not even juice. It's concentrate. It's all bullshit.
Yep.
And then some kind of a fucking sandwich, which is made out of this processed wheat bread.
Yeah,
It's
stable. It probably has in that
garbage.
meal alone 100+ chemicals. I think I'm being
Yeah.
conservative.
Yeah. At a hospital.
It has to do with government contracts, though.
Yeah, but it's so crazy that hospitals, their diets in hospitals are co-opted.
I can't even, my kids, who I know will be watching this, so I love you guys. It's okay. But they stopped packing their lunches And I was like, guys, why are we not packing our lunches anymore? And I would watch all the crap that I would buy go bad in the pantry. And my son ratted my daughter out. And he's like, she's eating breakfast at school. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, the sugar cereal, Lou's having that at school. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Even my kids who know better, it's.
But isn't that a rebellion against mom, though? Which kids definitely do. Like my youngest daughter, she jokes around about, she's like, ooh, seed oils. I love seed oils. She'll have salad dressing with seed oil, and she like mocks me. I'm like, okay, you eat whatever you want, but just know what it is.
I honestly think the kids know what it is. And I try to give them enough freedom now at these ages, 13 and 15, to make some of their own decisions. So not everything is a pushback, but I truly think there is an addictive component.
Oh, for sure.
And she just, it's like, I'm so good at home. And I don't mean to associate, not good, but I eat well at home. Let's put it that way. And, just at school. I'm just going to do this at school. And the problem obviously is when she goes off to college, I won't be able to control the environment at home. And I'm like, honey, okay, hold on. There's forgive me. There's a 20-year-old influencer named Bad Baby, I think. Joe, she
I know
saw
that
this.
is.
Okay, she saw this girl.
That's the lady from Dr. Phil.
Yes!
Catch Me Outside.
Catch Me Outside. So she saw this girl, I think when she was like 9, and has followed Bad Baby. Bad Baby now has cancer.
What?
I believe so. And
For real?
according
Isn't she
to
like
my
20?
daughter, exactly the point, though. That's exactly the point. And so now I can say to my kids, this isn't just mom's generation, which, how come, there's something else to look at. My mom is 76. None of the public figures in her generation got cancer. You didn't see Susan Sarandon or Sigourney Weaver or Meryl Streep. None of them got cancer. But in my generation, it's like Maria Menounos, Christina Applegate, something's going on with Angelina Jolie, Kate Middleton. In my generation, the canary is dead in the coal mine. It's not even a question of the negative impact. If we're not looking at statistics, if we're just looking from an observational perspective, it's in the news every single day. Someone's dealing with cancer. Olivia Munn. Now you're seeing 20-year-olds deal with this. And I was able to point to that to my daughter and say, this is the shit that I am talking about. She's 5 years older than you.
What does that lady have? Does it say?
Yeah, she's claimed that she's got a form of leukemia, I believe. But people,
They debate, they doubt her.
Yeah, for sure, they doubt her. I
Well,
don't know. That
she's a little bit kooky, right?
Sure.
There's still, you still
don't know,
can
though.
point to the fact, even if it's not Bad Baby, who may be lying. I'm
I
not
like
sure.
how you're using that name, Bad Baby.
Is it Bad Baby? Bad what the?
So
I said
it's
Bad
a
Bunny the
Joe
other day, and my kids are like, "No,
Bergoli.
that's the rapper."
She says she insisted she'd been cleared for surgery. She has no regrets about her cosmetic tweaks. What does a cosmetic tweak have to do with leukemia?
Don't know.
I think people are.
They're
just
not going to
bringing
perform
it
plastic surgery on a cancer patient. What? Is she's getting plastic surgery? Is it? What is this article about? Go
I don't know,
scroll
but
up.
look at the
About the
chronic
backlash.
Go out.
myeloid leukemia piece, because
about
that's
the
the part I
backlash
know
on it.
about.
She breaks silence on claims she lied about having cancer after being slammed for vaping.
Oh God, did
The
she lie
rapper.
about
That's.
it?
I was just showing you. That's.
Go
no.
go back up.
I don't know.
Because I
It
thought
says
she had like a wig.
Go
My
back up,
daughter said
please.
she lost her
trying.
hair.
21 says currently battling chronic, how do you say that? Myeloid leukemia.
Yeah.
Criticized for getting cosmetic surgery while battling disease, which is pretty crazy. Is that really true?
That's the part that.
She underwent plastic surgery and challenged rival Alabama Barker to a physical fight,
See, that's
all
right.
while battling leukemia.
Apparently, Alabama Barker did not show up for that fight because my daughter was very disappointed by that.
What they were gonna meet somewhere
They're
in an
supposed to
actual
meet,
fight?
I think, in Calabasas and throw down.
Oh boy, the Calabasas throwdown,
That's
the
right.
classic.
Of
You know,
course.
it used to be an old West shootout. Now it's a Calabasas throwdown.
Sure, there's a hair
between
pulling and all kinds of
influencers.
stuff. But
boy.
what I can tell you with certainty is that the rate of early onset cancer diagnosis in people 18 to 49 has gone up 79% over the past 2 decades. So if in fact Bad Baby is being untruthful and deceitful, those statistics are real.